and today I'm going to detail why maintaining optimal blood vessel production, an endogenous process known specifically as angiogenesis, is so critical for bone development and regeneration, known accordingly as osteogenesis. And I'm also going to show you the best ways to support angiogenesis naturally. Angiogenesis declines steeply as we age, and this is definitely one reason why older individuals experience such slower wound healing and overall recovery. Blood vessels and the endothelial cells that line their interiors are an abundant component of bone tissue, and this vascularization is largely what drives tissue restoration and bone's dynamic self-healing capacity through the delivery of nutrients, growth factors, minerals, and oxygen. One of the primary growth factors that initiates angiogenesis is something called vascular endothelial growth factor, which provokes the migration and growth of endothelial cells and also regulates osteogenic growth factors, thus indirectly stimulating osteogenesis. And one practical way to see the actions of both angiogenesis and osteogenesis is to observe how both processes behave in response to a fracture. Immediately following a bone fracture, an abundance of blood vessels arrives in the damaged area to generate hematoma, a pool of mostly clotted blood that forms as a result of broken blood vessels at the site of injury. These blood vessels allow for the secretion of various cytokines involved in regulating inflammation. In spite of the prompt increase of blood to the site of injury, a phase of necrosis, or scar tissue formation, follows, stemming largely from the injury's damage to tissue and surrounding blood vessels. In the area of the hematoma itself, vascular endothelial growth factor is highly present, and thus promotes the primary function of angiogenesis, which again is the growth of new blood vessels from the damaged ones, while also instigating the development of an internal and external soft callus made from cartilage that steadily replaces the blood clot formed in the post-injury inflammatory stage. The soft callus is rapidly replaced by first hard callus, and then finally, as the cartilage mineralizes, the very strong, mature adult bone tissue known as secondary bone, while also restoring the regular number of blood vessels. Beyond serving as the delivery system for oxygen and nutrients, the bone tissue vasculature is also an active endocrine organ that regulates skeletal growth and homeostasis. And it does this by coupling angiogenesis and osteogenesis in an intimate, interdependent manner, in which osteogenic cells secrete angiogenic factors, while vascular endothelial cells release angiogenic signals to regulate skeletal modeling and repair through the development of the bone-building cells known as osteoblasts. Again, natural angiogenesis declines rapidly as we age, but thankfully there are numerous natural ways to support its optimization regardless of age. So let's get into that. Regular exercise, and particularly weight training, is really the best and easiest way to stimulate angiogenesis in the muscles, heart, and the bones. Conversely, a consistent lack of exercise leads to capillary regression and hypoperfusion, or insufficient oxygenation of the tissues, something that can be severely problematic for much older people. In addition to exercise, there are several specific nutrients that also stimulate angiogenesis and can easily complement a regular fitness routine. And one of the most direct nutrients for stimulating dynamic angiogenesis is original flushing niacin, also known as nicotinic acid or vitamin B3, as niacin promotes both microcirculation and vasodilation, or the expansion of blood vessels to their natural maximum width. Also, niacin is the most direct precursor for the essential coenzyme nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, or NAD, which itself is the primary fuel source for sirtuins, a family of metabolic proteins that so critically maintain cellular function. And specific to the bones, sirtuin 1 increases production of the bone-building osteoblasts while decreasing bone resorption. Another B vitamin, thiamine, which is also known as vitamin B1, stimulates the growth of the endothelial progenitor cells that later develop into mature endothelial cells for enhanced blood vessel repair and regeneration. And vitamin B12 also stimulates angiogenesis by inducing production of nitric oxide, prostaglandin E1, and yet another vasodilator, prostacyclin, while also reducing homocysteine, which can otherwise inhibit angiogenesis heavily. Copper is known to enhance angiogenic action while also building red blood cells and forming collagen, and An easy way to get copper supplementally while also supporting nitric oxide production is to regularly take some supplemental L-citrulline, which is stabilized with copper. Finally, insulin-like growth factor 1, or IGF-1, is a hormone that promotes the growth of both muscles and bones. And you can get IGF-1 by regularly ingesting bovine colostrum, which contains IGF-1 abundantly, and you can also support the actions of IGF-1 through taking zinc carnosine, which increases the activity of IGF-1. Angiogenesis in the bone microenvironment is an essential component of bone growth and development, post-fracture repair, and even daily bone maintenance. So it really shouldn't be surprising then that blood supply in those with osteoporosis or osteopenia is significantly lower than in people with normal bone mass. So I hope you now understand why maintaining optimal angiogenesis through, ideally, daily exercise and appropriate supplementation is such a critical part of keeping the bones strong throughout life. Thanks for watching. I'm Jason Carter, and I'll see you next time on ENZYMENTAL. Stay healthy.